Hey y'all, how you doing today? All right, back out in the shop again, out in the garage. Gonna work on the piston rings and the pistons. To be working on putting the new piston rings on these pistons here and get them all ready to go. Um, they're all cleaned up, and they've been all cleaned up for some time now. So, and they're numbered. So let's just get started here, okay? All right, as we can see, just stock cast replacement piston. All right. Basically, what's going to happen today is I'm just going to show you how I put the pistons and rings on these. Get the rods and the pistons ready for the new engine, the 360. Let's see, so we got second groove right there. We got first groove here somewhere. Yep, here's first groove, top groove. And then we got our oil control rings right here. Alrighty. So, now, the other thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you what I do. First of all, you want to clean off a good workspace in your garage, a good workbench, okay? You do not want dirt. Dirt here at this point in time is the enemy of this entire operation. So, yeah, this is a situation right now where you want clean, 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 clean. So this is not a time where you need a lot of clutter or crap or just dirt or dust or anything else. So, all right. I'm going to check a couple of things in my book over there. You notice I got a book laying over there. That's got quite a bit of good information in it. I'm going to get that book and I'm going to look at something real quick in it. Tell me something. I'll show you what I'm looking at. And I'm going to put my gloves on. Okay, so I will pause this and I'll be right back. Okay, y'all, we're back. One other thing I wanted to mention is make sure you have plenty of light. Good light. You want to make sure and be able to see things very clearly. You don't want any kind of misconceptions about stuff. Okay? And you notice I'm using gloves. You can do this barehanded. I have before. But you'll notice I was about to put the top ring on. Also, clean up your tools real quick. Okay? I'm using these piston ring expander pliers to install the piston rings on. You don't have to do that. You can do it the other way with your fingers, your hands. Okay? Like so. Okay, I'm going to back the camera up here a little bit so maybe you can get a little bit broader picture. There we go. Now you can use your fingers and do it like this. But, you know, expand the ring out. I don't really like doing that with my fingers because, well, that's why I bought the pliers. But, oh, hey, just realized, wait a minute, pliers don't work on the oil control ring, so just have to wind them on. so to speak. Now you want to be sure to be careful about doing this. You don't want to go at this real crazy and wide open. Now here is the other part to the oil control rings. So here we go. Now these usually fit in there, and they usually fit in there like so, okay? So they'll usually go in there when they go into the piston ring groove, they go in like that. The oil control rings aren't that big of a deal. I mean, they are, but they aren't. Okay? This is interesting. Seem to be having some issues with my oil control rings. So I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this bottom ring on the oil control rings off first. Get that off and get that out of the way. Hey, learning as we go. Hey, look at there. Do it like it's supposed to be done. Guess what? It works. Okay, now my gap for my oil control ring, let's see, where is it at? Where's it at? Okay. My gap for my oil control ring is right there. The springy, that up and down portion of the control ring, it's right there. So what I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to put this portion, I'm going to put it like right here, about right in here. This part will be right in here. Then my next one, it'll be back here. Okay. And then some might say that's not all that important on the oil control rings. I'll tend to argue about that. I'm using my fingers here. You can use screwdrivers if you're more comfortable with that. If you'd rather do that, that's up to you. You're going to notice these are going to have a little bit of oil on them out of the package. On the oil control rings, it's not all that crucial or critical as far as like which side is up. Your compression rings now, that's an entirely different thing. You've got to have them one side up or the other. They are very much more critical about that. So we'll get this sucker on here and just work it on with my fingers. That's all I'm going to do. Okay. I don't want okay. All right. There we go. Now, my second ring, it's actually got it marked on the ring. It says top. I don't know if you can see it right there on the camera or not. Let me see. Can you see it? Try to get this up here where you can focus on the ring and not my fingers. It's not going to do it, is it? Well, you can just barely make out something there. I do apologize. But this is the second piston ring. It says top right there. So we're going to put that in. Now this time I'm going to use my pliers. I like to use the moly rings. Some people like using the cast iron rings when it comes to these older engines. You know, it's entirely up to that person. Okay? Some people will be like, no, you got to use this ring or you got to use that ring. Okay. I'm going to try to focus on this here again, but let me look at this in my... Okay. I don't know if you can see that or not on the camera, but there is a taper in here on this side. So that tells me that this ring faces up like that. So here we go. Put that on there. All right. Now, you'll notice I have got my rings staggered here quite a bit from each other. My compression rings especially, I want them son of a gun staggered from each other. Now, as the piston, when the engine is running and the piston moves up and down in its bore, these rings will move just slightly, ever so much, every time that piston is moving up and down. That is what's ideally supposed to happen. Now, what can happen though is a lot of carbon can build up in between here and cause these rings to get stuck. Okay? And when that happens, then it starts having some serious issues. Another thing that can happen is when these, when your engine overheats, these can lose their spring. These piston rings will lose their springy capability. See, right now they got a lot of spring back. I can squeeze one of them and it springs right back to where it's come from. Okay, so what happens is when they get really hot, that's something that can happen. Like when an engine, seriously overheats, that can happen. When it does, that's never going to be good. When that happens, then you've got serious problems. You got the engine's going to probably start using oil, losing compression. There can be just a whole host of different problems that can crop up. It just snowballs from there. Okay, I'm going to see. I got the connecting rod cap off. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just wipe this down real quick, and I'm going to get my bearings out, show you how to do that. I'll be right back. Okay, y'all, we're back. All right, I got the bearings out. To go ahead and tear them open here, and these are my rod bearings, sealed power. Okay. Now, another thing, look here. I wiped out the saddle where the bearing goes. Look at this dirt that was in there. Okay, I sprayed these connecting rods and pistons down with some lubricating oil and had them covered up very well, and they still got a little bit of contaminants on there. But You don't want anything right here, okay? Any dirt right there can push the rod bearing up a little bit and cause it to sit up away from, sit up and push it up and give you false readings on your, okay? Now, I have already went through and measured my clearance, okay? But I'm going to do it again once I get my bearings in there, and I'm going to measure the clearance with the bearings and with the the rod throw on the crank. So I'll show you how I do that too, and I'll also show you how I use the plastic gauge. If you don't know what plastic gauge is, it's just a little tape, basically a little piece of wax basically that goes on the bearing surface of the crank, and then you tighten you can use it on main bearings and rod bearings, but you tighten them down, and when you do, okay, see, this is, you want that little indentation in the bearing, you want it in that little notch in the rod. You'll notice this connecting rod has a notch right there for that groove in the cap, okay? So you'll also notice this has a see if I can get the camera to focus. All right, see that little diamond right there on the cap? The rod has a corresponding diamond on it. I don't know if I can get the... Yeah, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's there. All right, so there we go. That's, whoops, that one is done. Okay. Now, I'm going to run these down, and then once they're run down, I'm going to, there we go. Once they're run down and torqued, I'm going to take my measurement in here with my caliper, and then once I take that measurement, I'm going to measure the crank journal, where this goes, where this runs at. This is number 3, so I'll measure the number 3. Okay. All right, hold on just a minute. Let me get a socket and everything, and I'll be right back. Okay, y'all, we're back, and I've got my connecting rod chucked up in the vise here, just the rag to protect the surfaces of the connecting rod. I don't want the rod to get gouged by the jaws of the vise. So I'm just going to torque this down. Let's see. Once I set my torque wrench here correctly. So I'm going to do it one side at a time. Try to pull it down as even as possible. So I didn't go the full 45 the very first time. I pulled it down in increments. Okay. So now I want to measure. And then I want to compare the measurement in here, okay, with the measurement on my crank journal, my rod journal, on the crankshaft. So, okay, I've zeroed out. Let's see. have to do this more than once. Don't be alarmed if you do. Set y'all up here so you can maybe see just possibly a little bit better. Okay. All right, so all right, 2.118. Let me see. All right, now I'm going to go measure my journal on my crank. Take you all over here, let you see what I'm doing. Okay, so here's my crankshaft. Here's number 3, journal right there. .129. What does my book say I'm supposed to have? 2.129, let's see. 72, 79, 360. Let's see. Yeah, 72, 79, 360. And I've got 2.129. So I'm running a little bit small. My oil clearance is supposed to be about 5 thousandths. Okay. Well, it looks like it can be 5 all the way up to 22. But my crank can run 2.1240. I'm at 2.130 and 2.150. So now I'm going to measure this again real quick. Let's see. 2.130. And this was 2.102. .117. Okay, so let me do a little math and do a little figuring here what I gotta have. I will be right back and show you what I did. Okay, y'all. Here's what I came up with. 72 to 79, 360. All right. Here's my connecting rods. 2.1240 to 2.1250 is what it's supposed to be. I've got 2.130. Okay. Well, my oil clearance is 5, supposed to be 5 to 22. I've got, I've got 7. Yeah. So, that's pretty doggone good right there. That's not too daggone bad right there. So, if you're assembling an engine, building an engine, machining it, whatever, take notes. Please do. It's just a huge help. Okay? And also, pay attention to that stupid little decimal point. Okay? So, I'm not down here close to 5. I'm up here. Well, wait a minute. Yeah, right here we are. Wait. Yeah, right here we are. So I'm not at 5. I'm up here like close to this 25. So I'm still within spec. So that's good. All right. This engine, when I took it apart, before I took it apart, this engine had excellent oil pressure. So there's no problem there. Okay, enough of this me talk. I'm going to release the torque on this, put it back in the vise, release torque on this, and then I'm going to do the rest of them and get them all prepared to go in the engine. So, okay. All right. So, I tell you what, why don't I just go ahead and do that, and I'll show you all. Okay. So here we go. Okay. If I come across anything on the way there, I'll show you. All right. But so here we go. Hey y'all. I just realized my camera is almost out of battery. So, but I'm still carrying on. And if there's anything that crops up, I will be the first to tell you what's happening, what's going on. Okay, so what I've done so far has been just checking clearances, measuring, torquing, fitting everything. This kind of planning, this kind of measuring and checking and everything like that. This is the homework that pays off. Okay. Am I like some sort of pro engine builder? Not by a long shot. But I built the engine in this Barracuda right here. Yes, I know I've got a bunch of crap all over it. I'll clean it up. But I built the engine in the Barracuda, and I've built other engines before too as well. I built some engines in big rigs, and they turned out really well. So on with the program, right? Okay. But I want to thank you all for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in and everything, and I really do appreciate it. So, and thank you for all the subscriptions and the shares and the likes and all of that. Thank you. I'm going to start doing that at the first of the video so that those of you who are like clicking off the video, at like 15 seconds or something, you'll see that. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, and God bless.